maybe I could get you a job with United Fruit. I got a buddy with United Fruit. Get you started. Start with strawberries. You might work your way up to these goddamn bananas. When, boy? When are you gonna get your act together?
Gross.
Oh, good God almighty me. I think he's the Antichrist. Anthony, I want to talk to you. Now listen, don't walk away from me when I'm talking to you. You get a goddamn job before sundown, or we're shipping you off to military school with a goddamn Finkelstein shit, kid. Son of a bitch.
You're ready to choose freedom over democracy for democracy. Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pick them up on the next day. Called. You need a ride to the poll. Don't mess with the movement of America. Let's get it done. I used to drive an 18-wheeler.
Sure you did.
Laura, he never did that. He did not drive an 18-wheel.
Wait a second.
Biden's been in politics for 30 years, Laura.
If you're a drag queen and you know it, shout Free Palestine! If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, you're a drag queen and you know it, shout Free Palestine! Excellent.
Yeah, how long would you last in a Muslim country?
Anti-Israel, like the one.
He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there used to be a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
The cannibal ate my uncle. Whoa. Put on the brakes. Welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, poofties, bong-eyed heifers, right and left wing wackos, woodchucks, and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, that is, to another version of It's News to Us. And we are watching video from the October 7th.
Go back. Yep, there you go.
The October's, there's the Hamas guys. They're gonna jump the gates of a kibbutzim. But anyways, we're watching the October 7th raid. We'll get into that later. But anyways, who are we? Where are we? What are we doing here? You are watching It's News to Us. We're Newport's oldest TV news watchers. Neil Brown Kill, as the locals say. Here's old Joe. He's moving mighty slow at the junction. Philo was nice enough to put a clip on where Joe last week said his uncle was implied that his uncle was eaten by cannibals in Borneo. And he was shot down in World War II. And that's all, yeah. And then he came out and said that he drove a semi, and he drove a school bus, and he flew an airplane. It's like the Tales of Commander McBragg.
I remember him. I used to enjoy that show.
Yeah, all hail the cadaver in chief. We cater to everyone here. Where you're all welcome, men, women, and batwangers and coat hangers. And defund the cops? No, I don't think so. You know, you'll be the first one howling for the first responders when your car is a pile of smoking hot junk piled into a friggin' maple tree. And I told you about these last week. RickardsWarRoom.com. You got to see this guy. We'll get to some of his stuff later if we have time. But YouTube, man, there is some funny stuff at this one, at this site. Facts for Peace. And who are we? Where are we? Oh, in the booth we have Philo T. Farnsworth. You can see him waving. A drummer extraordinaire. He's the Rolls Royce of drummers. And you can see his drumming videos on YouTube at Terry DeFazio. Excuse me, I got a bug in my throat.
You know, there's only one problem with this Rolls Royce.
Yeah?
It's got some really damaged tires.
Yeah, the tires are getting a little bowed.
Not just the tires, the knees, the hips,
Oh, man.
everything else.
Yeah, you probably had more parts replaced than the Rolls.
Either
Anyways.
replaced or repaired.
Yeah. And at least he's not like Nancy Pelosi, though. Nancy Pelosi's skin is so tight, if you look real close, you can see where it says Remo in front of her ear.
You mean like the drum heads?
It's an old drummer joke.
Yeah, I know.
Or banjo. And anyways, we were just talking about populism, and here's the thing. But RFK Jr. has a book, and we were talking about it earlier, and this is from last week's Epoch Times, EPOCH, Epoch Times, and they're talking about populism, and the people who hate populism, the elites, as they say, they went to Machiavelli's playbook. Any means was justified to crush the thing that was rising up in resistance. The most cockamamie idea at the time was to say that President Trump was actually elected by a plot emanating from Moscow. The too clever by half idea here was to bring back Cold War era anti-Russian fears, but that scheme didn't really strike the right chord, and the whole thing fell apart for lack of evidence. But still, the race was on. In 2018, matters got worse in the election of Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, where there was mounting evidence of the same taking place all over the world. People were starting to take the idea of democracy seriously, and that was a major problem, since everyone in high circles had already established that democracy was just supposed to be a slogan, not a reality.
Yep.
Excuse me. Of course, all the movements the world over were called populist, as a signal to elites that they were dangerously intolerable and had to be crushed. From 2018 onward, all crazy trends in policy, media, tech, medicine, and practically everything else were deployed toward the end of stopping these movements all over the world. Yeah, see, it wasn't just here, you know. Any place, and it seems coincidental too, Philo, that most all the places where the populists lost were the ones that are using these voting machines. Huh. And surely it's just coincidental, right?
Oh, please don't call me Shirley.
Yeah. And consider just how extreme this became in 2020. The simultaneous announcement all over the world from every reliable statesman that a great reset was taking place, and that includes the most egregious and brazen displays of despotic power we've seen in modern times, including even the shuttering of churches, small businesses, schools, the closing of travel and hospitality, and the censorship of all media. Remember that when next time you go into the voting booth, and it might be Trump over the cadaver in chief. Okay, remember that. Just remember that, because camera 2, because because we want peace and prosperity, not wars and austerity. And these are the black bloc kids who are getting arrested down at the colleges. Like me and Philo said, they couldn't point out Gaza on a map of the Middle East. They're all dressed in black. A lot of them seem to be getting paid, and a lot of them are older, Philo.
Yeah, and one of the guys on News Nation apologized for making references to between them and the hippie protesters in '68.
Yeah.
And I think his name was Vittert, and he did apologize. He said, yes, there's nothing about these guys now that's anything like the hippies back in '68.
Yeah. It was, for the most part, and with the hippies, it was actual college students. They weren't agitators who flew in and got paid or something,
Yeah, and we actually had American kids getting killed.
Yeah, getting drafted and killed, like my brother.
Yeah, there's none of that going on now. We don't have any boots on the ground over there.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, just to illustrate how far the censorship, just to illustrate how far they were willing to go, they even attempted global mandates to receive an experimental vaccine that any knowledgeable medical professional knew for sure would not contribute anything to public health. It was a way of underscoring the main point. We are in charge and you are not. Comply with dictates, no matter how arbitrary or crazy, or else. Remember when Joe came out in the summer of 21, And he said, we got patience, but our patience is wearing thin.
He was going to go door to door.
Yeah, we're going to go door to door and, man, hold you down and make you take the vaccine.
Yeah, I got one word for him.
Two. So
We're number one. We're number one.
there's a great Star Trek episode, and they ran it last week. It's called The Game, and it's about a game that these people picked up on Rise of the Pleasure Planet.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and everybody's doing it. And if it doesn't matter whether you want to or not, they hold you down and make you do it.
And
But anyways.
it keeps stimulating the dopamine in your brain.
Yeah, just like cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we might ask the question, if the world's most powerful people, and especially agencies tasked with ensuring national security, had to resort to such extreme tactics, and all under the implausible claim of having to control a virus, just how fragile is their rule? Just how afraid are they of what they are calling this populist movement? They're afraid of Trump. They're afraid of Trump. And because look at it, I mean, Trump came in, I don't care if he's a blowhard. Teddy Roosevelt was a blowhard. Andrew Jackson was a blowhard. As a matter of fact, look at what's his face there, Grover Cleveland, Philo.
I wasn't alive then, I'm sorry.
Grover Cleveland, look him up, boys and girls. Grover Cleveland ran for president, and he came in, didn't do too much of anything, didn't have much of scandals or anything, but he got the economy going by Jesus, and he didn't like the polygamy with the Mormons. He mentioned that in his inaugural address. So, anyways,
I think he was jealous.
yeah. So Grover Cleveland, he gets the economy going, and for some stupid reason, I don't know what was the occupation down south, the carpetbaggers or something. I think they elected the next guy. What was this, Garfield or something?
Yeah.
And so they elected Garfield, who, just like Biden, ran the economy into a friggin' right off the cliff, into a depression. Excuse me, and there was no unemployment insurance or anything back then, boys and girls. He ran the economy right off a cliff. So Grover Cleveland runs for office again, and didn't he win a second term? So just like Trump, he's going to be the only president, God willing, who served one term. Somebody else comes in, ruins the place, takes a giant dump in the White House, and then Cleveland came back in. Just how afraid are they of what they call in this populist movement? They should be another word, but it's all we have. The new populism is nothing more or less than a growing global and probably unstoppable demand by the vast numbers of people around the world for a restoration of their rights and liberties, and a basic Enlightenment era conviction that people should control the regime under which they live. There's nothing extremist about that. The extremists are those who are willing to resort to any measure to keep their power. And that's it, because that's what they're saying. The extremists are the ones, they're not you and me or Trump. Trump never came in and said, you're gonna drive an electric vehicle or else. Well, you know what? The electric vehicles suck. As a matter of fact, they suck so bad, Philo, that what was it? Last year was last quarter was the first quarter that Tesla lost money.
Yeah, they just laid off 10% of their people, too.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that. It's crazy. And 43% of small businesses couldn't pay their full rent during the last quarter. You know what that means, don't you?
Well, all you have to do is look around here and see how many businesses have gone out of business or nearly out of business. Thanks to their global reset.
Yeah, and it's horrible. It's horrible, man. And by the way, you know how we're always seeing these people getting busted up here with guns and drugs, Philo.
Yeah, and they don't even give them. Some of them get away with murder, and some of them don't get away with anything.
Yeah, well, but You know, if they don't, there's Oz. He saved a bunch of these kids from the Israeli concert festival that they had, where Hamas came in and killed like 250 kids or something.
Oh, yeah, but, well, we got to have free Palestine, yes.
Yeah. Dragged the women back and raped them, and they're still in tunnels. Yeah, great. So, anyways, this guy, he got arrested with 354 grams of cocaine, Philo.
Oh, wow.
They listed him as a Vermont man. Yeah, they got 2 handguns off him. They got him for running a drug ring. There was no picture of him, and you know what his name was?
Alfalfa.
Close. Lamont Carter.
Really?
Yeah, now look, don't call me a racist, okay? But every time they do not post a picture of the person who's arrested, that tells me something, okay? Because every time it's Whitey or anybody else who's got a driver's license or a booking photo, yeah, this is when Hamas was shooting at him. He was lucky to get away. And every time it seems to be a minority. And here we go. You wonder why we have inflation, Philo?
Well, so the government keeps giving out all this stupid, funny money.
Yeah.
To everybody.
They ponied up. Now, mind you, the economy was on the mend. All he had to do was sit back and relax and let it rip. But oh no, they had to go print up 1.9 trillion for the ARP, the American Rescue Plan. Another trillion for the Inflation Reduction Act. That worked out great, right?
Oh, sure.
Another $740 billion for infrastructure that is going to grants, like we told you about the 300 million that's going to Kohl's because the malls are suffering. Nobody's going to the malls anymore because, let's face it, they shut down all the stores except for the real big ones during the friggin' scamdemic.
Yeah, but infrastructure shouldn't include malls.
No.
I mean, come on here.
It should be roads, bridges, ports.
Yeah, sewage, electrical.
Sewage treatment.
Yeah, electrical systems, police and fire.
The grid is not going to be able to handle all these charging stations if they came up with them.
Nope.
But they suck. The electric cars suck.
Well, someday they will be good, but they're not there yet.
No, exactly. We didn't get to the moon in 5 years. We're not going to get to electric vehicles in 10 minutes either. Let's see. I had a good article in here too, as a matter of fact.
Lay it on us, Steve.
Oh, good grief. Unbelievable. Outlook bleak for the prosecution in Trump's New York trial and all the other trials too, because let's face it, they don't have a case. This is like the 10th day of the trial, Philo, and they still haven't been able to come up with a list of charges yet. What are you charged with? Well, we can't tell you just yet. What? What is this, communist friggin' Russia?
Oh no, we went by that a while ago.
Yeah. Oh, here we are.
By the way, you know that shooting they had in North Carolina a couple of days ago? 4 cops got killed.
Yeah.
They posted his picture. The guy who did it, who by the way got shot also, and they posted his picture on Yahoo News.
Was he a minority?
I didn't say it.
Yeah. Well, I figured, guns without a permit, big deal. Take the rap, man. Take the walk. It's only 5 years out of your life. Big deal. No friggin' what the hell?
You remember that picture I showed you of that kid from 44-year-old kid from Springfield that we used to play hockey with my son?
Yeah.
All that charges that he had, the stolen car, unregistered vehicle, unregistered handgun, all that money, all that cocaine, all that fentanyl. Repeat offender. You know what they gave him? 4 years.
Yeah. So,
isn't that lovely?
Well, at least he's doing some time, A. And B, nobody got hurt or killed, right?
No, not yet. We know. We don't know. I know what happened here. You know what he ratted on somebody else.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll get you out. Okay, here we are. 2 articles here. 1, Japan's excess deaths hit 115,000 following the third COVID shot. New study explains why. And here's the one on the bottom. The rich get richer thanks to the Federal Reserve. And because most people do not know how the Fed works, and that it's not federal, there are no reserves, it is a cartel of private bankers. So nobody understands it, so I'm going to try and enlighten you a little bit. Let's see. The pandemic response has been the best thing to happen since the rich people in over a century. Why? Because the pandemic set off the biggest tidal wave of money printing in U.S. history, pumping out $6 trillion in fresh dollars in 2 years. That was roughly 1 in 3 of all dollars in existence before the scamdemic. Free money for Wall Street. The money, of course, was pumped directly into financial markets. Stocks gained $10 trillion over the period. Now, stocks capitalize, and many trillions more poured into bonds, not least government debt, treasuries, treasury notes, like we told you about last week, boosted by the Fed Reserve purchases. Why did it go to the markets? Because that's how the Fed prints money. Remember, we told you about this. I have silver certificates. These were, you have Federal Reserve notes and you have U.S. Treasury notes, okay? And that was, a lot of people say that that's what got John F. Kennedy killed, okay? Because Kennedy wanted to get rid of the Fed, go back to Treasury notes, just like Lincoln did. Lincoln eliminated the wartime Civil War debt just by printing U.S. Treasury notes, greenbacks. Look it up, okay? Because when the Fed Reserve prints dollars, they are lent into existence, okay? When the U.S. Treasury makes dollars, they are spent into existence, all right? There's a difference there. It's going to take you a little while to wrap your head around that, so we'll wait for a few minutes, okay?
Well, I remember 1974, it was against the law to own more than 1 ounce of pure gold.
Thanks to FDR.
Yeah.
Yeah, that went back to the Depression.
And then what was it? Nixon let him, he let it go on the market.
Yeah.
And it shot up to like $210 an ounce. This is in 74, which is quite a bit of money.
from $35 an ounce. And then who got screwed? The working people.
Yeah.
Through inflation.
We always did.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. For better or worse, the Fed does not print new dollars on a machine and hand them out to everybody. Rather, it buys assets and subsidizes lending. So-called quantitative easing is buying assets direct, but most of the new money is actually created by banks, which conjure the money into existence when they make a loan. In fact, since the Fed repealed reserve requirements during the scamdemic, Wall Street is now free to lend into existence any amount their greedy little hearts covet. The end result is that new money goes first to the financial markets and rich people via bank loans. The money then slowly trickles down to the rest of America, often long after prices have risen. This is called the Cantillon effect, and it works like this. Now you can see this. This is what kills me, because they got rid of RT, all right? RT is Russia Today, and some of the programs on RT, one of the best ones was the Kaiser Report, where Max Kaiser, he's an economist, a former Wall Street trader, and he I think the show's still out there. He explains all this stuff in simple English, okay? So the Cantillon effect goes like this. A rich guy gets a loan for a swimming pool. The money is spun from nothing. The bank effectively prints it, then charges interest. He then takes that fresh money and hires a bunch of workers. He pays them. They go to McDonald's. The McDonald's guy takes his dog to the vet. The vet buys a car. The car salesman pays his electric bill. And it goes on and on. At each step, the new money spreads wider and wider, and it drives prices higher and higher. Now, what else could you call that, Philo?
It's just inflation. It just,
That they're always bitching about conservatives promoting? Trickle down.
oh, yeah, of course.
This is just another word for trickle down.
Or supplied side economics, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way of the world, people.
I can only tell you one thing that I know that trickles down.
Yeah, yeah, and we're getting hosed.
Exactly.
Okay, leaving inflation for the little guy. So the rich guy gets his money first, and everybody down the line gets it theirs inflated away. The last person in line is typically a Social Security recipient or a pensioner who gets nothing but inflation. Normally, the Cantillon redistribution is small enough that the victims don't notice, like it was during Trump. And they're saying, oh, well, inflation's only 3%. No, it's cumulative. It's 18% now. Oh, speaking of which, did you see that, the stupid, the press, well, what do they call that? The press dinner, Saturday night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, man, they have it every year. It's supposed to be a roast of the president, right?
Oh, yeah, yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, the National Correspondence
Yeah.
dinner or whatever.
I think they had Imus host that one year.
Yeah, well, only once. Well, this time it was hosted by Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And he was kind of funny with a couple things. But all they did was bash Trump. You're supposed to roast the president who's president. It's like these people have got Trump derangement syndrome. They just can't leave it be. Okay. Normally, it's small enough the victims don't notice. It's like we had, inflation at between 1% to 3% under Trumpster. But in the scamdemic, they printed way too much, giving us soaring prices for everything from food to medical insurance to housing costs. Now, it wasn't just the printing of money here, Philo. What this guy doesn't mention is that Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline and all the new oil and gas leases too, which immediately doubled the price of oil. And what happens when you double the price of oil? Everything that gets delivered, that gets made and delivered to your butt at the store or to your door is delivered by a car or truck that burns fuel. Every home that is heated up here, 85% of the houses here in Vermont are heated by oil, okay? So what does that do? Bang! It just took a giant bite out of everybody's ass. And, okay, since the scamdemic, the cost of owning, let's see, the scamdemic, the cost of owning a median home in the U.S. has doubled, hitting close to $3,000 a month, or half of median family income. And in many cities, if you didn't get a house by 2019, you will never own a house. Conclusion. The fact that the Fed drives inequality shouldn't be a surprise. That's the purpose of a central bank. That's why Wall Street bought themselves a Federal Reserve back in 1913 or 1914, which coincidentally is how they got the income tax, because they didn't like paying duties on import and export duties. So they said, well, why don't we tax all the working stiffs out there? And Woodrow Wilson, being a good Democrat, what do you think he said, Philo?
Why, sure.
Why, sure. Yeah. Let's tax the workers. Come here, Mo. Hey, Mo.
Yes, and now your Social Security and your unemployment benefits are taxed thanks to Mr. Ronald Reagan.
Oh, man, I'm not going there. So as long as we have a central bank, the rich will get richer, the poor get inflation. With the Fed eyeing a repeat of the 22 inflation, the rich in the U.S. should get ready for another big payday, and everyone else can get ready for the fallout. Okay. Oh, this guy, Peter St. Onge, the economic research fellow at the Roe Institute and Heritage Foundation. He got a doctorate in economics from George Mason U, former professor in Taiwan. He blogs at profitsofchaos.com. There's a good name for you.
Yeah.
Okay, and here we go. Now, okay, for all you people at what do you call it, BlueTube, okay, I'm just reading this article about Japan's excess deaths, and which was written by Joe Wang, okay?
Just remember this, Steve. YouTube does not look at what you're doing.
Yeah,
they
the
have an
algorithms.
algorithm that does it. I tried to sell a snare drum and I put it was a Black Panther blade, and they said, we will not let you sell weapons.
That's crazy.
It was a snare drum.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah. Please continue.
Yeah, this is by Joe Wang, okay? Joe Wang.
Okay.
Wang, PhD, was a molecular biologist, more than 10 years experience in the vaccine industry. He's now the president of NTT Television Network Canada and a columnist for the Epoch Times. Now, mind you, he played a role in developing all kinds of vaccines. As a former vaccine researcher, I read the curious article with great interest about the Japanese deaths. Let's see. I worked as a research scientist at Sanofi Pasteur, one of the world's largest vax companies, for 10 years. As the person who spearheaded their SARS-CoV-1 vaccine development in 2003, I personally found the hypothesis by the Japs very reasonable. Please bear with me on the scientific terms, okay? Because the most important in understanding the roles of the mRNA vaccine may have played in cancer development. ERs, or estrogen receptors, are a group of proteins found inside the cells. They're the receptors that can be activated by the sex hormone estrogen. ER alpha is one of the two classes, an important regulator of the body's reproductive system. So let's see, research for 9,000 human proteins, see which binds better. The binding unregulates the transcriptional activity of ER alpha. In other words, the S protein of the SARS-CoV-2, when introduced into the human body, binds to the ER alpha and functions as a nuclear receptor co-regulator, interfering with the cell's normal function and leading to the malfunction of the cells and the organs. Wow. Jake Briggs, buddy. Jeez. It's been shown that the mRNA vaccine not only has the potential to cause cancer, but may also weaken the immune system's ability to recognize and repress tumors. In a study published October of last year, Konstantin Foes and colleagues reported that a vaccination with the BNT162b2 modulated immune responses, resulting in weaker cancer immunosurveillance. The Japanese scientists found that for each dose, there are about 13 trillion molecules. For Moderna, the number is 40 trillion. Since the average human body has 37 trillion cells, one COVID M19 RNA LP dose would have enough molecules to spread into each and every human cell. Now, mind you, if you look, boys and girls, everything that's blurry here, everything that's blurry on the side of the road is a human body, all right? Now, if the Israelis had showed these human bodies as bodies, then the world would have seen what really happened, and they couldn't dispute it. That's why Eisenhower, after World War II, when they liberated the concentration camps in Germany and Dachau and Poland and the rest of Europe, he made sure there was a film crew there to document all the dead bodies and the ovens and everything. Let's see. Japanese study, yada, yada. As authorities across the world still claim that the vaccine is safe and effective and continue pushing it, it is uncertain what the future holds. This is because the COVID-19 molecules already in the bodies of hundreds of million people remain there and continue producing the S protein, interfering with the immune system and causing cancer and other diseases. But yet, it's funny, Philo, all these people that are crossing the border and coming into our country illegally, they don't have to get a vaccine to get on a plane or anything else.
They never had to wear a mask.
Never had to wear a mask, exactly.
They never had to do any of those things that Joe tried to mandate us to do.
Hell, they don't even have to get a damn job. They don't even need to get a job. Get a job. Here we are. This is another one. How climate change agenda is preventing Africa from modernizing and gaining prosperity. We'll get to that later. Here's a good one. This was, thankfully, it was printed up for me by the news division here at NEK TV. Thank you, Philo and Toddster. I try not to abuse the privilege. If I find a decent article once or twice, I'll ask them to print it up, and they've been spectacular, printing stuff up for me since I was a correspondent for the weekly press conferences with Governor Phil Scott during the COVID scamdemic.
Until you asked too many tough questions.
Yeah. No, they said I was a racist, Philo.
And then when they couldn't pin that on you, they said, oh, he's not really news.
No, I'm hobby news.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is from the Defender, okay? You can see it at childrenshealthdefense.com or .org. It just so happens to be Bobby Kennedy's outfit, RFK Jr.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's who I'm voting for.
Yeah, FCC knew that cell phones exceeded radiation limits, hid the information from the public and the courts. FCC testing showed popular cell phone brands exceeded the agency's safety limits for human exposure to wireless radiation. But the agency hid the info from the public and the courts, according to data obtained by the Environmental Health Trust. And we told you last week about when Tesla set up his experimental generating station with wireless electricity in Colorado Springs over a century ago, Philo.
Yeah.
And when he would crank up he would put light bulbs in the ground, and he would crank up his invention, and all these light bulbs would light up. But when he cranked it up even higher, they found that the horses started dancing in the fields. And the reason the horses were dancing is because they had iron shoes.
They were arcing.
They were arcing and sparking. This is by Suzanne Burdick. I won't hold that against her. The FCC knew for years that certain popular smartphones exceeded the safety limits and when held close to the body, according to data obtained by the EHT via the FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act. Rather than going public with the results, the FCC hid them. No. Our government would hide safety data from us, Philo?
Huh?
Our government would hide safety data from us? That don't seem right. The outcome of let's see. Even when important lawsuits concerning cell phone radiation's impact were underway, the outcome of such lawsuits may have been different had the agency been honest about what it knew and when. Let's see. They told us, Miriam Garcia, director of the told the while we are not surprised the FCC is hiding information and prioritize the protection of big industry over people's health, seeing the FCC's action play out this way reminds us why the work we're doing in this program is important and why CHD is proud to be on the forefront to hold them accountability. Now, mind you, the FCC regulations, here's the caboose. This is what happened after Hamas. The Hamas holes got through with them. They slaughtered a lot of people. They went from house to house just shooting and blowing people up, burning babies in ovens. Nice folks on the green screen behind me.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Oh, that's another thing too. Did you hear in the last, they wonder why they want to get rid of this Johnson guy as speaker, Philo?
I got to tell you, both parties do stupid things.
Well, this guy, talk about doing stupid things.
I've given up on them.
You know what he put in the last budget? They just dug it out.
What's that?
In the Ukraine money, they put aside $3.5 billion to the State Department to accelerate and set up Mideast immigration, i.e., they want to bring Palestinians to the United States.
Well, was it Columbia to try to placate? I don't know if it was Columbia or who it was, but one of these universities trying to placate these protesters gave 5 scholarships to Palestinians.
What could go wrong with $3.5 billion in bringing Palestinians over here? Are you kidding me?
Somebody's got a screw loose here.
The Jordanians won't take them. The Turks won't take them. The Egyptians won't take them. The Syrians won't take them. The Iraqis won't take them. The Iranians won't take them. The Lebanese won't take them. But old Joe Biden says, we'll take them. We'll resettle them here.
Yep.
What could go wrong?
Yep, I know. We can't even take care of who we got here.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and they're just letting in more. It's like thousands every day. So anyways, this FCC limits. And you know the FCC, if they set a limit on radiation from cell phones, you know that the FCC limits have got to be off the charts, Philo, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So they're already off the charts, but they exceeded them. Let's see. EHT deserves credit for digging this out and exposing the FCC's extraordinary efforts to protect the industry it's supposed to regulate rather than protecting the people by concealing their right to know. According to EHT, the FCC undertook the 2mm testing on August 30th through September 23rd, 2019. After an August 21st, 2019, Chicago Trib investigation reported that some cell phones exceeded the wireless limits when tested 2 millimeters away from the body. What's the millimeter? Thickness of a dime, right, Philo?
Yeah, something like that.
And what do most people do? Most people hold it right up to their head.
Yeah. You know what I do with mine when I talk online?
Speaker.
I use speakerphone. I hold it away from me.
Yeah, the FCC typically uses a separation difference of roughly 10 millimeter, which is 400 thousandths, or potentially more, for pre-marketing cell phone testing. The Chicago Trib chose 2 millimeter to mimic real-world experience. The FCC didn't release the results until September 29th, last fall, in relation to the FOIA request seeking data. The FCC's results showed that 5 of 11 cell models it tested exceeded the safety limit of 1.6 watts per kilogram when tested 2 millimeters away. First one was Apple iPhone XS. Second was Samsung Galaxy S9. Third was Samsung Galaxy J3. Fourth was Motorola's Moto G6. And fifth was BLU's Vivo 5 Mini. McCullough said that he suspects the FCC hid its results because releasing them would have supported the Chicago Tribune's investigation results. The FCC was intent on hiding this info because they knew how bad it would reflect on the commission and the industry it serves. The FCC has abandoned its primary mission and is now just a servant to the telecom industry masters conspiring against the public's best interests. Oh, here's RFK's new book called Vax Unvax.
Yes, I saw that listed on Amazon too.
Anyways, the Court of Appeals ruled that the FCC failed to consider non-cancer evidence. The court sent the case back to the FCC to provide an explanation. The FCC still has not complied with the court's mandate. Unbelievable. Phones should be tested the way they're used, you think? Oh, here's another Robert Kennedy book called The Wuhan Cover-Up.
That's the one I just ordered from the library.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
FCC still withholding documents.
You don't think this Kennedy guy's got something on the ball, do you?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, you wonder, why this guy Johnson would say, "Oh, I've got a biblical worldview, and I'm a good Christian, and what I do." What happened to the Israeli stuff? Can we go back to that, Philo?
Oh, it was switched over. It's short. There we go.
Thanks.
It's a short video. It's only 39 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. So, where was I? Oh, they wonder why this guy Johnson. He said, "Yeah, I'll be speaker. I've got a biblical view, and I'll do what I promised I'll do." And what does he do? He gets in there, and he promptly does an about face, and he's just doing what the Democrats are telling him to do. Now, there's usually a few reasons why people would do something like this, right, Philo?
Yeah.
The first one is like fear, all right? Fear from the deep state, because they just come up to you, somewhere maybe in an elevator or someplace where there's no cameras or recording devices, and they say, "Look, we want you to vote the way we want you to vote, because you remember JFK in '63?
Yeah. Huh.
Because if we could get to a president, we could get a speaker. Oh, come on, make it look like he fell down some stairs, or you know what I mean, or we could go after your wife and kids." And I'm sure they've tried to scare RFK Jr. But you know what? He's fearless. You have to be fearless.
Well, here's the thing. They won't even give him a Secret Service detail.
Yeah, why?
Because they don't want him in there. They don't want him even more than they don't want Trump.
Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it?
Well, not only that, but the fact that he's probably going to hurt Biden more, but he's going to hurt both of them.
Yeah. But still, it's insane. It's usually done by fear, all right?
Oh, yeah.
The other reason is that you have something to hide. You've been caught in bed with a 9-year-old boy.
I don't know who that refers to, but
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying. It said, they catch you either with a live boy or a dead woman. But that's the reason. I mean, why else would this guy do an about face? I mean, just give up on all your promises and think there won't be any repercussions. Yeah, but anyways, they just squeezed out 13 million documents, 20,000 hours of video. And this Jack Smith guy, he just got a complaint. The guy who's trying to jam up Trump with this records law. It seems that Julie Kelly, you can see her investigative reporting at Julie Kelly at Substack.com, and she's dug up this stuff where they conspired. They all got together with Biden at the White House. Well, I don't know if Biden was there because he's toast. But they got together with the Biden people, and think about it, that dumbass in Atlanta, that dumbass lawyer, Fannie Willis's boyfriend, the one that she said paid for everything in cash. Mm-hmm. That dumbass, he was so dumb that he actually billed Fannie Willis for, I don't know, 24 hours of consultation with people at the White House. And I'm sure they pulled him aside and said, "Look, hey, dummy, you're not supposed to reveal that we met with you, dummy, because if that gets revealed, then everybody will know that we're after Trump with all these stupid, petty BS charges." And the gag order against Trump. This is a first too, Philo. Did you know that gag orders, Philo, have always been used to protect the defendant? They put gag orders against the prosecution, against the police, the people who testify against you. They never put the gag order on the defendant. They never have.
Well, if it would help if Trump would just shut up once in a while. But he
you
won't.
But Terry, you have the right to if you're going to trial and they're doing all this. Michael Cohen, the guy who's that perjurer who's going to testify against him, he's on MSNBC every friggin' night and getting paid for it to make up or exaggerate stories about Trump. And yet Trump can't go out and refute any of this?
I don't know. If I was him, I'd shut up because he keeps digging his hole deeper.
Yeah, but luckily, there's nothing to the charges. I mean, this is the biggest case of legal alchemy since The Sword and the Stone, man.
I like that movie.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Judge Marchand, with the gag order, he's talking about threats. It's the First Amendment, man. And Marchand is required to recuse himself. It's nuts. They filed a complaint against him, saying that he, under New York ethics laws, he is required to recuse himself because his daughter has been taking money, almost $100 million, from the Democrats, National Committee and other Democrat organizations, right?
I guess so.
So, right after they bring the ethics complaint against him, what happens the next day? Bang! The very next day, he throws a gag order on Trump. And they're finding out that Biden's White House coordinated with the cases in New York City, D.C., Florida, Atlanta. It's a criminal conspiracy. Oh, in Burlington. Did you hear what happened in Burlington, Philo?
What's that?
It was on the news right before I came in today. They just got a new mayor. What's her name? Emily Mulvaney Stinknick or something like that. She's one of these hyphenated names,
Yep.
And so they said, oh yeah, we've got like the city's got about a $4 million deficit. They're in the hole for $4 million. Well, they started looking at the books, Philo, and guess how much it is?
How much is it?
It's 13.
Wonderful.
Maybe they can take it from Burlington Telecom like they did under Mayor Kiss.
Yep. Well,
couldn't happen to a nicer city, huh, Philo?
Well, they dug their own grave. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I won't go there and shop.
No, it's getting weirder and weirder over there.
Yep.
And they're talking about doubling the room and meals tax.
Oh, yeah. And just wait. When you get more Democrats in Montpelier, all your taxes are going to go sky high.
It's nuts.
Uh-huh. Yep.
They get this. If you say you got a $250 room in Burlington, right?
Yeah.
At the Hotel Vermont or something, if they get away with the new room and meals tax, it's going to go from like $260 over the $250. It's going to go from $260 to like $285.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it'd be like
last but not least, Steve.
a $35 what? Yeah, Maria Bartiromo grilled Jim Jordan on Sunday. She couldn't take it anymore. Let's see. Oh yeah, we've given these Atacams long-range missiles to the Ukraine, Philo.
Yep.
And whatever happened to the Abrams tanks they got? They were all destroyed by Russian drones, Philo.
Imagine that.
Yeah, $9 million a piece. And the F-16s too. They got F-16s. And now they're getting Poland and Lithuania to send back Ukrainian draft dodgers. Well, once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. So hopefully we'll see you again next week. Inshallah, as the Hebrews say. So until then, get down on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, sniff the bum of the guy in the man dress in front of you, head east and worship the meteorite in Mecca and go, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Akbar.
And once again, a happy Deus Magnus Est to everyone out there.
You abandoned stoop, like the Mexicans. Shit, maybe I could get you a job with United Fruit. I got a buddy with United Fruit. Get you started. Start with strawberries. You might work your way up to these goddamn bananas. When, boy? When? Are you gonna get your act together?
Gross.
Oh, good God almighty me. I think he's the Antichrist. Anthony, I want to talk to you. Now listen, don't walk away from me when I'm talking to you. You get a goddamn job before sundown, or we're shipping you off to military school with a goddamn Finkelstein shit, kid. Son of a bitch.
You're ready to choose freedom over democracy for democracy. Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pick them up on the next day. Called. You need a ride to the poll. Don't mess with the movement of America. Let's get it done. I used to drive an 18-wheeler.
Sure you did.
Laura, he never did that. He did not drive an 18-wheel.
Wait a second.
Biden's been in politics for 30 years, Laura.
If you're a drag queen and you know it, shout free Palestine. If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, shout free Palestine. Excellent.
Yeah, how long would you
Drag
last
queen
in
story
a
hours
Muslim
are
country?
Now going anti-Israel.
He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there used to be a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
The cannibal ate my uncle.